before the DA comes in. So let's move the sheriff's office just after Fair and Event Center.
Okay.
What time is that at?
That work?
I'm here.
That'd be at 11 o'clock, I believe.
Okay. Perfect. So we will, on item 4, department presentations, we'll add in the sheriff's after the Fair and Event Center around 11 o'clock.
Perfect.
You want to make a motion to it?
Then I'll make a motion to approve the amended agenda.
I'll second that.
Yep. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So that's agenda approval. So public comments.
No public comments? Okay.
So moving right into clerk's office for presentation discussion.
Thank you. Thanks, Shelley.
Thank you.
For the record, I'm Shelley Denny, County Clerk. I've also got my Chief Deputy, Trista Donaldson, with me today. Good morning.
Good morning.
So I've handed you a little packet, just like an overview of the clerk's office. I know that Joe's new to the Budget Committee, so want to just kind of give a little rundown of the roles and responsibilities of the county clerk. The first page there, as you can see, is just the organizational chart for the clerk's office. So the clerk, as an elected official, oversees all county elections and maintains voter registration and compliance with election laws. The department manages all aspects of voting, including records, candidate details, precincting, ballot programming, printing, and distribution. The office organizes, conducts, and records elections year-round. The county bears the cost of state, city, and county recalls. Except for the odd years, when we have the special district election, we get reimbursed for those costs that are around $35,000. And those chargeable costs are set by Oregon state statute and Oregon administrative rules. Election infrastructure is recognized as critical, and ongoing legislative changes often require unfunded mandates. Election personnel and equipment. Over the past several years, many election offices across the U.S. have been targets of misinformation, disinformation, and threats. This toxic political environment makes it hard to recruit and maintain election staff. And then I just gave you a couple of ORSs about personnel and supplies that mandates the county to give the county clerk what she deems necessary for the office, and that we can borrow from the road department if needed. And not only do I do elections, but we also preserve land records and liens, issue marriage licenses, passports, death certificates, keep public records for the commissioners and some other departments. And then I've just added a little flow chart here of the recordings from 2005 through 2004. And you can see we're kind of on a downward slide here with real estate kind of being in the housing being in a slump. We also do property value appeals board hearings where petitions for property value reductions and penalty waivers are reviewed, and that is partially funded by the CAFA grant. And as a passport agent, we're trained under federal guidelines, and our office provides passport photos. Due to budget cuts and staffing cuts during 24-25 and 25-26 cycles, we had paused passport services for 6 months because we can continue to operate everything. Recently, we have started providing that service again without the need for appointment. And then since 2020, we have had we're the county registrar when the county gave the health services back to the state. And then, sorry, I lost my spot. And at a minimum, the clerk's office is required to be open from 8:30 to noon, 1 to 4 for recording, Monday through Friday. And delivering service has become more expensive due to inflation and other economic pressures. At the same time, a housing slump has led to failing revenue for the county. The fees for recording documents are set by statute and have not increased for 39 years, and marriage licenses have remained the same for 45 years. As a result, the elections and recording budget reflects a reduction in recording revenue. In contrast to the current revenue for elections, it has increased due to the special district coming up this next May. And then just a little update since the cyber attack. Because of that, we lost decades of historical data. Efforts are ongoing to input and retrieve portions of the lost information. And towards the end of 2024, beginning 2025, the Board of Commissioners did allocate $500,000 of the ARP funds so that we could hire a vendor to help get some of that information back. We have recently received the digital information from that vendor, and we're currently working with our systems vendor to get that inputted into our system and hopefully get that out and available in the near future. And prior to the attack, we also offered a web query service that provided access to the land records. We had about 11 subscribers, and they paid $900 annually. And because we're still not completely fully functioning, I don't have the file servers to provide that service. We've lost quite a bit of revenue because of that. Part of our expenses also during that cyber attack, we were had already started the May election, and we had no computers or phones, and so we had to go out and get an internet provider so that we could have a static IP that the state requires to access the statewide voter registration system. We tried to do the satellite thing. I think I heard that mentioned yesterday. And because they don't, at that time, they didn't offer static IP, we could not use satellite. So in summary, the clerk's office continues to adapt and respond to evolving challenges from legislative mandates and economic fluctuations to cybersecurity threats and staffing concerns. Despite these obstacles, the office remains committed to serving the public with integrity, maintaining essential records, safeguarding election processes, and restoring critical services. Through resilience and collaboration, the clerk's office strives to ensure transparency, accessibility, and reliability in all its operations for the citizens of Curry County.
Thank you, Shelley.
And so my budget pretty much is static quo from last year's budget. Like I mentioned, the biggest part being the recording of documents is down quite a bit from over the years. But we will get reimbursed this year for the special district election.
Curious what percentage of your recording is like real estate transactions, would you say? Is it the bulk of it, or?
Yeah, bulk, mostly, yeah. We do probably with the passport services, now that we're not doing by appointment, I think we were averaging about $4,000 when we weren't doing them. And now I think we're back up to probably about $8,000 yearly for that.
Thank you, Shelley.
Oh, and the other handout I gave you was just, I thought you might be interested in a study that Reed College did on election staffing and the threats that election to offices are in Oregon, that one's for Oregon, are going through.
I was going to try to see with recordings so far down, 2025 brought in 95,000. I was trying to find where we were for 2026. I mean, do you know about where you currently are on this year in relation to 2025?
I believe with the supplemental 110 was what we're guesstimating.
Okay. Oh, as far as what you think you're going to have for brought in for 2026?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what it shows here. Okay.
Hopefully, interest rates will go down and housing market come back up and
Yeah. Any more? Dan or Joe? More questions from commissioners?
No. Thank you, Shelley. Yeah, thank you guys very much. I will say that something that we've been in the early processes of discussing in terms of efficiencies was historically, I should say historically, but in recent past history, the clerk's office has been an accounts receivable service. So, and they have taken in payments for several different county services, and in other counties they still do these things. And we are examining that option for several different, dog licensing, business licensing, etc. To have one central point of contact for customer interface for payments to the county. So that's been something we've been examining. We're not ready to execute anything, but we've been looking into it to kind of increase efficiencies.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I have.
Yeah.
How many full-time employees do you guys have there?
In my office,
Yeah,
just 3 right
just
now.
3 total. You 2 and 1 more? Or no,
3
3
plus.
plus you guys. Okay.
actually had a position open since, Trista left me for a little while, and so I had her position open, no applicants. She decided she wanted to come back. I still have a position open that has been open since February, and since then, I think I just recently received an application, and I only have one more.
In the clerk, just look at the email this morning,
Yeah.
I don't see labor in there. Am I missing something?
Probably looking at the records reserve fund.
Oh,
You gotta go to the bottom, there's a bunch of different funds,
It's going to be the general fund.
and then go to the bottom where there's a bunch of tabs of all the general funded services.
Okay.
I knew this was gonna be a,
Yeah, the clerk has a clerk reserve fund, and that's that
right, Nick?
5% that we get to keep for collecting corner preservation, the surveyor service fee. And so that's all in a restricted fund that it can only be used for certain things.
Did you find it, Dan?
yep, thanks. We're a little slow on this end of the table.
Thank you, Shelley.
Is there next one on the?
Econ Dev, Miranda.
Okay, so next up we got economic development.
Thank you. And Nick.
That's exactly what I was doing.
Okay.
Thank you. This is really nice.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to make sure that everyone's sort of aware of the change, the biggest change for the department and for the county. So that is, it'll be presented for the record as well.
Yep.
Okay, so good morning, Commissioner, staff, members of the public. Today I'm presenting the proposed budget for economic development and tourism for the fiscal year of 26-27. Before discussing the numbers, I'd like to provide just a brief overview of the health of tourism and the economy in Curry County and Oregon's Wild Rivers Coast. According to Travel Oregon's annual economic impact of travel report prepared by Dean Runyon Associates, tourism remains a stable and important economic driver throughout Oregon. Statewide, direct visitor spending reached approximately $14.3 billion in 2024, an increase of 1.1% over the previous year. While travel-related employment and tax revenues also experienced modest growth, across Oregon's south coast, travel spending remained essentially flat in 2024 at approximately $577 million. Demonstrating that while the rapid post-pandemic growth has slowed, the industry remains healthy and continues to generate jobs, business activity, and tax revenues throughout our region. With advertising from both the state, our regional partners, and Travel Creek Coast Economic Development, 2019 spending was $143 million in the county. At 2023, the last report, $235 million in tourism spending here in the county. So that's a 64.3% increase. What we are seeing today is not a decline in tourism, but rather a stabilization of the market. Many destinations across Oregon are beginning to report slower growth than in previous years. As consumer spending normalizes, travelers become more selective with discretionary spending. While economic uncertainty remains a factor nationally, we do not currently see indicators that would suggest a significant downturn in tourism for Curry County at this time. Lodging tax collections remain strong, visitation remains consistent, and the new Oregon Wild Rivers Coast brand continues to gain recognition and market presence. From an operational standpoint, I'm not requesting any additional staffing for the upcoming fiscal year. While the scope of the work within our department and destination management continues to grow, we have made a deliberate effort to utilize automation, technology, artificial intelligence tools, and processes to improve and to increase efficiency. These strategies allow us to expand services, improve stakeholder support, and enhance reporting capabilities without creating additional personnel costs. My goal continues to be maximizing the value of every public dollar entrusted to this department. The most significant budgetary change before you this year is not staffing, programming, or marketing. It is the state-mandated change to transient lodging tax allocations through House Bill 4148. Transient lodging tax revenues have always been a restricted, regulated funding source governed by the state law. Historically, at least 70% of those revenues generated from new or increased lodging taxes were required to support tourism promotion and tourism-related facilities, while no more 30% could be allocated toward local government services. Beginning January 1st, 2027, the state of Oregon will revise those allocation requirements to a 50-50 structure. allowing greater flexibility for local governments while maintaining tourism investment requirements. As part of these changes, local governments will also be required to provide enhanced reporting on both revenues and expenditures associated with the TLT taxes. This increased accountability will require us to document how funds are collected, allocated, reserved, and expended, ensuring transparency and compliance with state law. The budget before you reflects a conservative and responsible approach to these changes. Rather than assuming immediate benefits from the new allocation structure, we've used a blended methodology that recognizes the mid-year implementation date and protects the county from overcommitting resources. This approach preserves fiscal stability while positioning Curry County to adapt as additional guidance and reporting requirements are implemented by the state. Overall, I believe the budget reflects the same principles that have guided our department for many years: responsible stewardship of public funds, strategic investment in economic opportunity, support for the local businesses and communities, and a commitment to ensuring that tourism continues to benefit residents as well as visitors. So I appreciate the opportunity to present this budget, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Before you, you have that explanation and allocation calculator that we employed, which is a methodology for conservation of the blended rate. So before you see on the very front page what we were anticipating, which was 2.21 million. That's what we were anticipating. And then just what that would look like broken down mid-year. So on the back side of that page, you'll see what we have collected so far in the estimated collection, and then the last quarter estimate yet to be collected and what that would look like. So with the blended rate, which would be about 37%, we're actually ahead of that right now at 38.5%. So it would be that the county would receive $856,000 in allocation this year. Again, not having that full 50% for the entire year, as it'll be implemented in January 1. The breakdown also shows what marketing and tourism-related facilities would look like. As it stands with the ordinance here with the county, it's 50%. So that breakdown is there as well. I also break out our new fund for Tourism Resiliency Grant. So the commissioners and I had discussions about creating a grant around the increase from 7 to 10% that we did last year. They were more than enthusiastic about the opportunity to be able to invest in tourism-related businesses. And so I showed that as well. So the first year of that grant program should be about $41,000. So we're looking forward to that as well, and managing that fund as well. Are there any questions? I know there's a lot of information thrown at you.
No, but I will tell you one of the things. So we heard. So after from yesterday's thing, we discussed the 10th. There's going to be a plan presented, budget to review to be agreed upon. In that, what I anticipate or plan to present in that budget is so IT asked for a full-time position, right, an additional position, and we can't afford that. But one thing that we could do is do a halftime econ dev, halftime IT. The halftime econ dev will do AV and multimedia, so IT specific stuff, but towards econ dev directions. And then the other half would be doing, basic IT tickets and maintenance stuff for the IT department. So trying to address both those needs, but with one person instead of, one of our biggest needs right now is AV multimedia, things of that nature. So helping businesses with their social media, building different, multimedia platforms that businesses will come in and request assistance with and things of that nature. So just a heads up. I know she presented that she's not asking for any additional staff, but that's something that I plan to provide on the 10th.
It would be a need within our department. Some of the plans that I have forecasted for even a couple of years out is a media service center for the county, sort of in the way that Rural Community Television sort of operates, where there's several different municipalities that pull all their money together to provide production services. So county being a media desert, this would be something that we could implement in hotels immediately, where for instance, the advertising, or not necessarily advertising, would be because they don't want you to advertise on public education and government channels, but it would be sponsorship programs. So businesses could sponsor a program, and it would be a way for them to actually promote their services. So it's a need. I see it all the time because I am also trained in that. I have a creative media degree, and so my time is also being filled up with a lot more requests from stakeholders throughout the county. So
it also allows us to share cost.
Yeah.
Just, I'm curious about, where the money's coming from. You said you're going to collect 2.2 million estimated in the fiscal year.
For TLT,
Yeah.
Transit Legend.
Yeah, and then so 1.1 goes to general fund and 1.1 goes to promotion of tourism?
No, not at this time. So starting in January 2021, there would be a 50% allocation. So right now, we're doing a blended rate, which is a conservative budget way to actually not allocate more funds than needed.
So
Well, I'm just curious, which side of the money is going to fund your department, since you're promoting tourism? Are you coming from the 37 or 38% that goes to the general fund, or are you coming out of the 63% that's going to promotion?
That would be going to promotion.
Okay, so you're basically self-funded in your department.
Yes, we are a self-funded department, so the county does not have to, the general fund in any ways, have to actually.
You'll have 50% versus, starting in January 1st, when it's a 50-50 split, 50% just goes to general fund. We can use it over here.
Correct.
50% goes to your department plus anything else that's promoting tourism.
Correct. So the way I've budgeted before is that anything, what I felt was outside of what we needed would go back to our restricted funds. So there is a certain amount of restricted funds there already.
Full-time employees in your department?
Right now, we're scheduled for 2. Yeah.
Yourself and one more? Or?
Correct.
Okay. And then you guys, like I said, you're getting from the 50% that doesn't go to the general fund. And then for the rest of that, since you guys are definitely one of our revenue generators in the county, where's that other, if you have 1.1 million that's going to be spent on your department plus other promotion, what is that promotion doing to increase our tourism revenue? You know where exactly it's going?
Yeah, absolutely. So,
I know you do. But
right. No.
Can you explain to me,
So what our process is as far as advertising or the return on investment?
just what we're doing to increase this number so that we have more of a budget, in the county?
Sure, absolutely. So one of the first things that we did, which was also in our destination plan, was to rebrand. So we rebranded to Oregon Wild Rivers Coast, which gives us a better opportunity to be seen, not just statewide, but nationally. A lot of times people aren't looking for counties when they're actually looking up destinations, so we wanted to make sure that that identity was something that would go across the whole county. Now, that moniker was there before us, and so what we did and was advised is that we use Oregon as the indicator for where that is, because it also includes Northern California. So we went to that because we are, we have the most national wild and scenic rivers in the contiguous United States with 5. And so we were going back to who we are. So we positioned ourselves as Urban Wild Rivers Coast. That included a brand new website. So that website, what we're doing is now lifting it up so that it becomes the authority on things to do here in Curry County. So that allows us to also promote lodging facilities, restaurants, attractions, and you can find that at Oregon'sWildRiversCoast.com.
You know, what might actually help, is because this is a really big conversation, is to get the budget committee your 3-year
Yeah, I'll give you the destination management plan.
Strategic plan.
your strategic plan.
Yeah, the strategic plan that I just
Yeah,
put
so
in. Yes.
that will show a lot of the direction in which the tourism and promotions is spending and focusing in.
Yeah. Do you know a percentage of that's going out of your department into like NGOs and stuff like that? Just curious.
No, not necessarily.
You don't know the percentage?
I don't know, I wouldn't, not offhand, no. I'd have to,
Well, I think you're talking about like sponsorships towards events.
That we're spending on to promote, I'm thinking it's more than just a webpage rebrand. I mean,
well, it's not necessarily $1.1 million we're spending. So if you look at the line items, we're spending about $300,000 on, or a little bit more, on advertising. So that's the advertising that we're actually using. Again, a lot of that will go back to the restricted fund. But we are using, 3/4 of that or a quarter of that for advertising.
For the restricted fund, now the restricted fund you're talking about would be like for the event center funds as well? Or is this all the TLT that comes into the county?
Correct. So
Previous to?
1.1 million is split up between tourism-related facilities and promotions. So I don't manage the tourism-related facilities. That right now, by ordinance, every year the commissioners have to agree on where those funds go, and they have been at the fairgrounds as they continue to improve those facilities, which was voted on by the public, and I think a great use of those funds. At some point, there will be a decision for that 50% of tourism-related facilities to be used elsewhere, and that could be for interpretation or for people presenting projects. I think that's at the discretion of the board.
okay, that's great. The stuff that doesn't go in the general fund, I'm just kind of curious if that, as long as it's tourism promotion, whether that be the fairgrounds, whether it be like trying to get people to, increase the amount of lodging in the county.
Right.
For the general public, I think that'd be a great expenditure. I'd just like to see, next year we got predicted 1.1 million going into the restricted fund. How much of that can actually help us out with the budget, because it is definitely, like fairgrounds, stuff like that would probably be tourism.
Right, it's all restricted, so it's state regulated. It can't be used for anything other than what it's intended, which is promotion and tourism-related facilities. So, yes, the other 50% that's not promotion could be used elsewhere, but the promotion money has to be promotion.
So
I
like,
know the other 50% of the general fund needs to be used in the general fund. I'm just saying, the 50% that is restricted, it would be cool to see a breakdown and see how some of that could maybe help us on our budget here, since.
Yeah, it does seem like you need a visual, so I'll go ahead and give that to you.
Yeah, and I don't know if I need a visual, but just percentages, this much is going to this much is going to that.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe we could see and then pull it over here and be like, hey, maybe the fairgrounds, this could be a big promotion for tourism. This is how much we can use for fairs.
It can't be used for fairs. It has to be tourism-related facilities that will be there over 10 years. So it is a restricted allocation.
for the fair infrastructure.
Infrastructure. It cannot be used for
Yeah,
anything else.
that's what we've done. That's how we've improved the fairgrounds.
Okay, well, I guess when we get to the fair thing,
Yeah.
see it in there.
But, and that's why we're putting together the grant program for tourism-related businesses for infrastructure.
Correct. Infrastructure and promotion.
Facade improvements, et cetera.
Yeah.
Because that's an allowable use. But I mean, if you look at, you see, like, in advertising, she's budgeting $435,000. You could see, professional services, $1,000.
Yeah, okay,
So,
okay, we finally got it up here, all right.
so, yeah, I mean, the grant program is gonna be
It'd be interesting to see where $435,000 in advertising, again, that would be probably your level, but that's a lot of money in a pool there. I mean, as long as we can use it in a way that actually, that we know this improving everything here, and anyway, we'll get to that.
and you could,
The return on investment could be seen in the tourism spending that has happened from 2019 till 2023, which is, $92 million. So the return on investment is not a quick link, but it shows that the advertising is working, bringing people here.
Can you,
Which we also see in the TLT collection
could you
increase.
also please explain the restrictions you have on advertising and marketing as well?
So the advertising, money has to be spent 50 miles outside of your destination. So for instance, we cannot promote local events that are geared towards locals. So they have to be an event that is actually trying to get people from outside the area to come to our area. So that is a restriction, again, state regulated, tax and program. That's something that we have to abide by. So all advertising is done outside the area.
and that's a lot of times why you don't see
Yeah.
marketing locally, because all the marketing dollars have to be spent 50 miles outside of your area.
So my media buys sometimes will go all the way up to Salem, and then all the way down to Eureka in California, riding out to the valley. So we try to keep it within 3.5 hours of drive time for overnight stays and day trips.
Like, one of the things is, she advertises on the side of the buses in Medford, the temperature, the current date, the current temperature in Brookings,
Yeah.
right?
That's a good advertising.
So stuff like that.
Yeah, we even have, for instance, a billboard in Bandon right now on the way this way. So there's a lot of different ways that we
We
advertise.
see big banners and promotions too in the airports as well, so.
Yeah, basically, I'm just saying, I think you're a very important department here. I mean, 2.2 million predicted for probably, coming forward next year. And what was our total tax collection on the general fund?
2.4?
2.4 million. So, I mean, this is, I think, really key to our future here, to getting a good budget.
Right, I agree, and that's why, increasing that tax was important for the county. And it just happened to be at a great time that legislation was happening, and they decided to go from, 30 to 50%, which also helped, not just Curry County, but many municipalities. So it will be an important fund for us going forward.
It's too bad we didn't get the 60-40 that they had initially wanted.
So there's, the city has also collected TLT tax that they're, used within city limits, where this is, we're taking it from, hotels and lodging in the county. So, the city lodging and stuff like that, we don't see any of that money here at the county level. So this would be from Airbnbs, from hotels, in county limits, or county lands, I should say.
Yeah, it's not
Campgrounds.
Yeah.
an entire, some counties actually do that, but, yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Dan.
I see it in your budget, so you have 751,000 going into operating contingency, right?
Correct. Correct, it's a rollover.
Okay.
And will a portion of that go into the grant program?
Oh, we can absolutely earmark some of that for the grant program, absolutely. I think that would be great, especially right now when, I think a lot of people are still wondering what it's going to look like for the next year, which will be important for our budget as well.
So that's actual cash sitting now?
Correct. And because it's state regulated, it is restricted for just tourism promotions or related facilities.
Just curious, how do you invest that, or what do you do with it? Where's that money sit?
LGPI pool.
Yeah, I'm like, that's above my pay grade, but
It's the same thing. Yep. Yes, the LGPI pool, that's what Nick manages. And so all the county funds sit in that pool, and they're pulled out as needed.
I think he's asking, is the interest on that money available for other uses?
Oh, I don't know. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so like.
Well, as long as the principal's not touched, right?
Yeah, well, what happens is, there's a spreadsheet that I divvy up the interest to among all departments, so that every department gets a portion of it.
So, I mean, I
But
really.
he's saying the restricted funds that are sitting in the LGPI pool, is the interest accrued on that available for general fund purposes?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
So if we're collecting 1.1 and we're putting here, if we spend it really wisely in here and then end up putting,
It is.
close to $1 million a year into that fund, that wouldn't take many years before you're getting some good interest off of it.
Yeah, it's,
I know that they're probably not going to like that if they come in and audit us, but
I think we're sitting at just over 4%, or is that 4%?
Yeah.
Is what we're currently, the rate we're getting.
It's 30 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah, not bad to use the TLT tax to build a coffer to generate interest off of.
100%. Yep.
Rand, the one question I had was, did they give you any direction on, right here in your chart for when we do the switch over in 2027? Right now, you're showing that the October, December, 2026, that quarter, technically those funds are received in the year 2027. Are they going to allow those funds collected? Because right now you have that as the 30% split. Did they give you direction that if you're collecting that money in the 2027, could we actually split that final quarter into a 50-50 split?
it is based off of the sort of the fiscal year that you're operating. So if it was calendar year, sure. But I think because we go fiscal, I don't think they would allow that.
Well, yeah, so even though the receipts were collected in, it'll be fourth quarter 26, that revenue's coming into the county in January 2027.
Is it date received?
Yeah, that's-
Received the funds, or is it the?
Because right now, with this current budget for what you have,
Sure.
you have October, December 2026 as
So that's 2025.
I would think because we're actually collecting October to December, the collection date is just a procedural. It's not where the money was actually generated. I don't think that would be sort of an allowable.
So I think you're asking if the money's received in this year,
No, I think.
27, excuse me.
Yeah, when it comes around January
Is
27.
it date the money's received, or is it the?
Again, I think those are legislative things that will be brought up. In fact, that's some of the talk that we're hearing is that there are going to be some amendments to this because there are a lot of questions. And because 4148 was rushed through the short session, that there will be some changes. So we're just sort of making sure that we're not making any rash decisions at this moment. But
So depending on what they
but that would be, I think, a good question to ask.
Yeah, because that could be a little bump to county budget, depending on what they say.
Right.
'Cause
and if it could
Yeah, I
still-
think that's a technicality
Find out.
that needs to be discussed.
And if it could still be modified, then I think as much push we could give to the legislature that 60/40 is definitely going to help these rural communities more than 50/50.
Well, the negotiations started initially at 60/40,
Yeah,
and then it settled at 50/50.
right, because they were just cutting the baby, I think. But, if they realize it's the county health versus just, advertising dollars to some, to media, it might help them go back to the
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, I believe, the entire intent was the point that the majority of our high tourism counties are coastal counties, and some of our eastern Oregon counties, rural counties, and the impact that the tourism has on our services is not being allowed use by the restricted TLT fund. Right, so the idea of the tax is to assist with the resources that are required to be able to handle that much tourism, not just the promotion of the tourism. And in a lot of our counties, I mean, I listened to a lot of the legislative arguments, and that was like the strongest, the most prevalent one exactly was our coastal communities and our rural areas don't have the resources, whether it be public safety, infrastructure, roads, etc., to continue to accommodate the amount of tourism that's occurring, and unless we reallocate some of these TLT funds to be able to afford those things, then it becomes this
An unpaid for service, basically?
yeah, it becomes a burden on the community, not a blessing, And so it is the second largest economic driver in Curry County.
Yeah.
And so we have to embrace it, but we also have to recognize that 2.1 million people go to just Harris Beach alone. Just Harris Beach.
Yeah, the last couple of years, it's the most visited day-use park in the state.
Yeah.
We're seeing just a huge influx of people. And a lot of that has to do with social media. The Instagram folks who love to take a picture in any of these places. Yeah.
Or whatever. Yeah. The Samuel Bourbon is one of the most sought out destinations in all of Oregon.
It is.
You could just keep them from falling off the cliff.
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
that's the exact.
that's
word.
part of the messaging.
Rescue.
Yeah.
Lots of hours.
Yeah,
Yeah, we should go to.
If we could let that free advertising flow and promote that as much as possible, maybe the 450,000, if we were putting that into a rollover. I mean, not the whole 450, but it just, again.
I could see where you're wanting to do that. I feel like experimenting with the advertising dollars that have increased the visitor spending would probably be to the detriment. We're just now being visible to a lot of visitors, and I still go throughout the state in conferences and stuff where people are like, well, where's Curry County?
Yeah.
And they're native to Oregon. So I think, the more that we do to advertise our region and what we have to offer, the more money that will come into the TLT that would actually help the county.
Yeah. But it is evident with the increase in visitors that what has been occurring is working. And there's multiple efforts. There's a lot of different efforts that are assisting in promoting the tourism in Curry County, but you're certainly a driver of that.
Yeah. Well, we help drive it, absolutely. Yeah, no problem. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Miranda.
Absolutely.
And your big team.
Thank you.
Okay, does that move us to?
Fair events. Natasha.
Hi guys. I'm going to piggyback off Miranda a little bit because we both share the TLT funds, and so a lot of your questions were also with the fairgrounds as well and what we're doing there. I have 3 different budgets. I have the event center, I have the fair, and then I have the TLT funds too, so I'm going to go through them a little bit. Everything is pretty much status quo when it comes to the fair and when it comes to the event center. When it starts with the event center, we did get on a pro bull riding thing this last year in March, and we are going to be continuing that, and hopefully that'll bring in more money and more things. We did come out in the red this year for that, but I have a lot of big plans to in the long run, it brought more money to the county, which was great. But I did add that into our next fiscal year budget as well, though, because it was approved this year, so I would like to continue with that. We received about $20,000 more in lottery funds this year than we usually do, and so our new number is about $78,000 dollars, I want to say, for the lottery funds. We usually get about 50-something thousand, and so I did put that into entertainment for the fair, just so we can up our things there. But a lot of the changes this year you will see in the TLT stuff that I have, because I have a lot of infrastructure remodeling going on at the fairgrounds. So my main point today was going to be walking through what that money is going to go to. For the arena, I am going to be removing the existing seating and fixing that concrete. It's unsafe, it's not really ADA compliant, and that'll be used from the TLT funds as well. And that'll hopefully, when we do our big rodeo events and our big bull riding and stuff like that, that'll bring in more safety, more people, you know, that kind of things, because nobody wants to come to a rodeo where you can't find a place to seat. Like, you know, you can't bring your grandma, there's no wheelchair access, things like that. So hopefully that'll help as well. The restrooms, the arena restrooms, we just did a new roof and new toilets, but we are still getting new countertop sinks, and the stalls are being installed, but this will go into the next fiscal year budget, obviously. So that's in there. The grounds, the perimeter fencing, we have an RFP out for that. I did receive 2 proposals, which will be coming to the Fair Board and the board at the next meeting. That's coming in about $170,000. So that can be used from TLT funds. The livestock building, we have an RFP out as well for the siding and new man doors. It's just deteriorating. We also need to redo the electrical in there as well. It's outdated. It's not up to any sort of code. Nothing really works. So those are pretty much my big budgeted items for this next fiscal year. Of course, in the future, I'll have more things, but that's pretty much what I'm doing for just this coming year.
Connect the dots, so the TLT money that you're using,
It's the other half of Miranda's money. So she can use for tourism and promotion, which I can use that as well. But a lot of my stuff, we kind of piggyback off each other. She really does the tourism promotion things for the fairgrounds, and I'm using it a lot for the infrastructure that's been neglected for many, many years.
So how much money from the general fund are you using, any?
I don't believe I am from the general fund.
Nothing from the general fund. So the restricted fund balance of about $950,000 that's the capital improvement
Yes.
money that we're able to touch.
Yep.
And and it's under the TLT improvements tab at the bottom if you're not on that one.
Yeah.
where's that 900,000 on here?
Is this here?
Yeah, it would be line item number 7 under the TLT improvements tab at the bottom.
Oh, 7,948, okay.
The bigger,
Those are funds in addition to economic development, 700,000.
Yes.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, so over the past few years, that pool has grown because there hadn't been capital improvements being done at the fairgrounds. So that coffer continued to build until now we have a good plan in place and a structure for doing a capital improvement plan. And now over the past year, we've tackled that. So, we've done the roofing on the arena and the livestock building. We've done new lighting in the arena, bathrooms, some other maintenance items on several of the other buildings that were long neglected. And now our next phase would be into the fencing and just doing some siding work and just cleaning up a lot of structure that's
making
essentially
it
deteriorated now.
safer and more secure for people to come.
Yep.
It'll also create a better environment, really, to have those bigger events that bring people in. We were
Yeah.
very blessed this year to be able to get on that pro rodeo circuit, and I really would love to grow on that. We have an inside arena, so we can have rodeos year-round. Like, that's crazy.
And if I'm not
We have-
mistaken, we're the only fairground in the country on the beach. So we're trying to really clean up those grounds, make them nice and appealing so that we can draw more higher level events like that rodeo.
Arguably, the biggest asset we have is the fairgrounds in terms of potential income for the town.
Are you capitalizing on RV parking and stuff around the fairgrounds? Is there spots for that?
We do not have RV parking at the fairgrounds, no. We don't have the room for it, honestly. I don't even know where I would put it. We have dry camping during fair, and we have people putting the RVs down by the beach, but we don't have hookups or anything.
Not a year-round service.
No, it's not a year-round service.
Just for parking for events, I just know when you go to a rodeo fair, it's just like RVs everywhere, it seems like.
Yeah, for staff and for people, for those kind of people that bring the RVs, we have parking for them. For the fair, we have paid parking, and overnight dry camping parking as well, and that's charged also. So we do make some money off during the fair time, but when it comes to our other events, we haven't had that.
One potential avenue of significant revenue for the fair is the stalls. So they have, very high level functioning horse stalls. That, again, are right on the beach and then have access to an indoor arena. And so I think there's 32 or 33
Something around there, yeah.
stalls. So
We did just get new doors installed, so everything in the barns is closed up right now, so that it's secure.
People that rent to keep their.
the horses.
We have people traveling from out of town coming here, a place to.
Is there undeveloped land, like beach grass area down there? No?
No, we actually, there was like a restroom that we had down at the beach that had showers and stuff, but they got so bad and they were unfixable that we had to tear them down last year. There has been talk from people recently about wanting those back. I have not put it in writing or anywhere, because I just don't see it. It's not a money revenue thing right now, and everything else that I want to do this next fiscal year would bring us more money in the end, just for the safety and the security of our current standing buildings, so.
Yeah.
Any other questions on this nice self-sustaining fund and building one of our, maintaining one of our favorite assets of the county? So.
Yeah, we got a good thing going on over there, and we want to keep that momentum going because it was really hard to get that momentum started. And so now it's rolling.
Yes.
Part of the beauty is that it's surrounded by park services, Oregon Park Services and such, and we haven't even begun to tap into the ability to exploit those kinds of things. It's just a sleeper asset.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you, Natasha. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Good job, Natasha.
We can hop right into the sheriff now.
Very good.
I'm going to take a quick.
Or we can take 5. You want to take 5?
5-minute break?
Take a, go to the restroom real quick.
Yeah, restroom break.
We're going to take a pause for about 5 minutes, 10 minutes, something like that.
5?
Yeah, 5
Oh.
Future of this budget, I really feel like this, thing that Boyce did, they put in a permitting fee for Airbnbs.
Thank you. All right, so we're back. Cynthia deserted you, but. Okay, well, I guess we can open up to any discussion on clerk or fair or TLT or econ, if we had anything left there. No?
I don't think so.
I think we discussed pretty well already.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll have the sheriffs. Were you guys able to pull that up, all the open tabs?
Yeah.
For Sheriff Chev?
We figured
Special
it out.
projects, search and rescue, and marine. Special projects we were able to go through yesterday. There were no changes
The
there.
only thing that we needed to redo was crimson for the numbers and communications, and then I have a wish list.
Okay. So let's jump to Crim Civ to start.
I just wanted to, the only change that we made that you guys didn't see yesterday was the holiday time. We also on all of them, we updated, Ruby and I, with the personnel costs with the increase for the COLA. So all of those reflect the new changes. Prior to, there was no holiday or overtime
So
listed.
just to make sure that I do have it right, I have 10,000 holiday and 40,000 overtime?
Correct, and then
Okay.
all of the salary, health insurance, PERS, all of that's
Yep.
updated to reflect.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
No large changes other than that. Did you want a wish list as we go through each division, or just in general at the end?
Probably within each division, right? So we know
Okay.
which budget line it
So,
goes with.
I have a note here that it's currently funded in our Crim Civ budget for the 50 animal, 50 civil. The sheriff was requesting to possibly move that to a full-time civil position. She has a high workload and eventually is looking to retire, so we were trying to brainstorm how that was going to look, bringing somebody in to train for that position as it's required, and not something that you can typically get somebody coming in with that experience. So how's that going to look like she's not looking to retire tomorrow, I don't believe, but down the road, we need to think of, can we double hire prior to for training? How does that look? Budget-wise, is that even an option? Or filling that position to the full FTE for civil, does that help that prior? Second request for that was bringing in a new FTE for patrol. The general cost for that per Julie for a step A is $113,000. Again, just a wish list. We're looking to rebuild our staffing levels prior to the budget cuts. Obviously, that's not going to happen all at once, so maybe bringing in one a year.
Do you have any idea where we're going to get that revenue?
No, I was just asked to put the wish list out there. The civil, I believe, is already funded. It's just the half and half. So whether taking that animal and just keep the part-time FTE, if that's an option, because it's already in our budget. I don't know if that's an option or not, moving forward.
Well, the option was there to hire for it originally, but he refused to do it, so.
Not my,
I know. I totally understand.
that was all I had for Crim Civ.
Yeah, what's that? Another one line item, the 6% PERS pickup.
That was in our new contract. For July 1, the county is taking over all of PERS for our union. And prior to, so the second line item is PERS County. They had that prior to. And so we have a 3% COLA, and then the county picked up the other part of our PERS.
Okay.
So that's the new line item in all divisions.
Okay.
And that's the updated increase with our new contract.
Okay.
Right here. Right, but where did it come from? Picking it up? Is that just an increase? It's an increase, yeah.
So what would be the total PERS then?
The two of those line items
Well,
together,
like you're saying 6% more, what's the total percentage?
It's the full 6%, right? Is how that works? Is that accurate? They're taking.
I think so.
Prior to, we paid half and they paid half, and so they're now they're picking up the full PERS for each employee. That was the agreement that was reached. So the total of those two together, is that what you're asking?
I guess, yeah.
I can total it.
I mean, is it 12%, 6 and 6? Is that what you're saying, or?
It's my understanding that it's the full 6% in total. But the rest of that portion is, I can ask Julie after we're done. That's how it was labeled on her personnel worksheet. It was the 6%.
You said patrol was deputy 118, you said?
Step A is 113.
113.
And that's full. Hi.
Somebody's watching.
Thank you, Julie.
So you have the sheet up?
I have it,
Yes, I'm watching, because I'm like, I gotta, yeah. Do you have the payroll sheet?
yeah.
Okay, so. That's fine. So there's two sides to PERS. There's the employee 6%, and then there's the employer portion that goes into the pension fund. That amount currently for police and fire, which is OPSERT police and fire, which is basically the third tier of PERS, is 38.13%. So the 6% that we are going to pick up in their new contract is actually the employee's portion. So the county is now going to pick up that 6%. So it's a total of 44% overall.
Thank you, Julie.
That answer your questions?
You raised one for me. So now, at least within those categories of employment, they don't contribute to their own PERS.
Not as of their new contract. Yes. The county portion is always the county portion or the employer portion, and that varies by counties, school districts, whatever your situation happens to be. The 6% is the employee portion that goes into an individual account, goes into an IAP. So that 6% the employees have been paying for the last several years, we are now going to go back and pick that up going forward.
So the grand total PERS would be, you said?
44% for the
So,
police and
like,
fire group.
They get 100,000 base pay, then 44,000 into their PERS each year?
Not necessarily, no.
Okay.
The 6% goes into their account. The other portion, the county's portion, goes into a pension fund. So that then gets dispersed based on whatever the calculation is when the person retires. So they don't get the full 44%, no.
Okay.
They get the 6, that's theirs, but then the other is in a pension program.
Okay. Which they
So-
draw out of, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and there's actually 3 different categories of the employer contribution. There's PERS Tier 1, Tier 2, which are the employees that were hired before 2003, I believe. We don't have very many of those left. Then there's the OPSERP General, which is the general labor force. The dispatchers also fall into that general, and that's only 32.86%. So it's a little bit lower than the police and fire.
So when you're saying 113 is on the wish list for patrol, that would also include that PERS in there, or?
Correct. That's the full total cost, benefits, and everything for
Okay.
that.
So they're probably taking like 65,000 home, and then the rest of the 113 would be PERS medical and payroll or something?
I didn't have anybody in this current worksheet for, I guess.
Salary is about 54,000.
Okay.
Yeah,
And the
the
rest
rest
are
this one
benefits.
for the civil, yeah.
So basically double
455.
Yep.
what they take home, the cost of them. Okay.
The rest, yeah, the backside of the cost on that.
Yeah.
On that side. Thank you for
Good
listening. You're welcome. So the only thing new moving forward is that additional 6% in our new contract that the county's paying instead of the employees.
Okay.
That was agreed upon because the raises couldn't happen. So that was our piece of it all.
Okay.
Anything else on Crimciv? I have a few the jail. There was no changes in the jail unless we want to go in a certain order. I just had communications in jail is all I wanted to.
Well, let's make sure we wrap up Sim Crib first. I mean, everything pretty status quo,
On
just the
Crimson.
PERS, and then the request for, trying to get funding for one more deputy.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then the civil was brought up for the, either taking the
Oh.
animal control out and leaving it just the .5, or the, looking into making it a full position. And that one's already budgeted in.
Okay.
And is still unfilled.
It's budgeted at .5, right, each on each for animal and.
Correct.
I'm ready when you are.
Okay. Anything
waiting
from
for these to
Jordan?
do
Good,
a little
okay. Did you want to hop back to the jail or go to communications?
I have communications next, so.
Okay,
There was
that's
no
good.
changes in that, other than the salary and everything was updated. Sheriff wanted me to put in the wish list of possibly getting one of our communications deputies back. The total cost for that at a step A is $105,482. And that includes the whole fee schedule for them. The, having a communications deputy back would lessen our overtime. Right now, we have a built-in 2 hours overtime for each of our employees to make up for the vacation, sick time, holiday, making the schedule cohesive. So we could look at changing that to where we don't have the overtime built in with just a general employee. So that would save costs to make up for part of that.
What was the overall number again on the adding FTE for?
Communications is 105,482
105.
for a step A.
And what is do you have an estimate on what the current overtime cost is for?
Well, they're budgeted for $45,150.
Oh, I guess they're right there, okay.
Yeah, and I can get you the year-to-date as of the April financials if you'd like.
Yeah, $71,826.
You have it? Okay.
Your actuals.
Today? Or the
As
April?
of this document, yeah.
Okay.
May's coming
That-
up this week.
With that, that's not going to stop all overtime, though, is it?
No, it doesn't stop all overtime.
Yeah.
People call in sick, you have people out on medical,
Yeah.
the best of our ability. If we have the
Planned
option,
It would stop planned overtime.
planned overtime, correct. Yeah, it wouldn't have to be built into our schedule, because we have it built in, and then the additionals, there's the extra overtime. But we do have a good staff that most are willing to accommodate by changing their schedule or doing what we can. So they've all been in the long
71
haul.
is all overtime, right, you're looking at?
Say that again?
I said the 71 that you're talking about is all overtime, right?
Correct, it's
Correct.
not, yeah.
It's not bifurcated out between planned and unplanned.
The rest of the budget is pretty much the same besides the increase in the personnel for the new contract.
I guess on revenue predictions or resource predictions for taxes on 911.
I left that the same because I don't have any new numbers for that.
Do you have any, well, on 24, 25, you're up in the 250,000, and then 26 and proposed are 125 and
I don't think that, I was asking Ruby about that. The 125 was the budget prior to the supplemental, so where did I find the adopted budget?
It's going to be closer to the actual.
Yeah,
Well, is there a reason why it's cut in half from years prior?
You mean the budget?
the 2026 budget, you mean?
Taxes on the 911, part of the revenue coming in.
I don't know that it's the same every year, so I think that's the number that they,
It's just based on call volume or something? Okay.
Tax on phone bills.
yeah.
Okay.
That's what it is, that's what it's meant.
So something was going on 24, 25?
Like that, yeah.
Okay.
It's built in your phone bill.
So it could have been a new contract with carriers as well that reduces rates or something that
Yeah.
cut it significantly? Okay.
No.
But if you look at the, if you look at the actual, I would assume, well,
My assumption-
not going to assume, but probably going to be closer to the actual than what was budgeted, which is to mid, low 200,000s.
So the non-incorporated, the actual as of April was 60,000. I don't think it's all, but obviously it's all hasn't been collected, so I
Mm-hmm.
can't give you an actual number.
Okay. Well, I was just curious why it dropped so significantly from 24, 25, but yeah, I guess that's just stuff beyond our control. Yeah.
Well, if it's 60 through April and you've only got 2 months left?
I mean, are we even going to break
That's not
100?
good.
Yeah.
so we just got $60-something thousand a week or two ago. I just haven't input it yet.
But yeah, like Dan's saying though, if we're only at 60, you're saying that's total from fiscal year from like July till now. We only got two.
Yeah, it'll probably be over $100-something thousand though.
Okay, you'll get another.
I just have to put it in.
Does it typically come after our fiscal year's complete and then we back?
No, this one hit.
I'm looking at what I got sent this morning.
Updated.
Yeah, me too. I'm looking at the same thing. But I'm.
Yeah, so I was looking at the financials as of April.
Right here.
And we're at 60.
Yeah,
But then you had another 60.
Yeah,
No, that was.
so I just haven't put it in
So
yet.
that's not actual.
Well, yeah, and she's saying
Yeah.
actual right now is only 60.
Well, that's the year to date, but our actual balance is 114 at the
Okay.
end. And then Nick said he just got 60 that's not in these numbers.
Yeah.
Okay.
I missed that part of the
Okay, so-
conversation. Okay,
So that's why I was just wondering, it's like, oh, we're here, and then,
I have
yeah.
got it.
Okay.
All in one day.
60 came in.
Well, then,
So if the 60 came in, our roundabout total would be 174 currently.
Okay.
This was as of April.
Oh, so the six, so the. what-
60's not.
There's another $60K coming in that I haven't input yet. So
But it was
it'll
60
show
through-
It'll show up on the May financials.
Yeah, so added to the 60 through April,
Yeah,
it's 120.
and I think,
There was,
But it-
there was monies left over. There was so the balance as of April 31st was 114.
Oh,
And there'll be another 60 change.
I see.
At least 60. Yeah.
so that's where the 175 comes from then for projected, okay.
In years prior, it looked like it was higher, but I think the 175 was the safe estimate to not go inflated.
Got it.
That's how I took it moving forward.
smart.
Anything else on communication?
Yes, a little bit. The capital expenditures. So I know you were wanting to get one of your terminals back up to running.
No, so we have 4 consoles, 3 are paid through the state that are fully functional, so 911 systems, radios. Our 4th console has never been set up to function with the 911 system.
And we're going to try to get that going?
No, they were talking about radio parts for that. So we have 4 consoles, and one has like a phone that you have at your desk.
Yeah,
It's not on the 911 system, but we can still take 911 calls on that. It's just not built into our consoles.
okay.
When we were discussing that with radios, it was replacing all the parts so the radio was functioning, and it is currently functioning.
Perfect. So so why I brought that up is because, as I mentioned earlier in the week, we have Senator Merkley and Wyden are moving forward with a $1.75 million communications appropriation ask. And so we're working with the vendor to identify the needs for our communications. And that was brought up, is your console, because, we really have to, we gotta get our communications out of the duct tape and bale and twine era, right? So this money will really assist in that process. But I guess I was just asking because the capital expenditure of those consoles is not inexpensive.
One part can be over $5,000, and it's a very little part to
Right.
get it to work.
Yeah, and the consoles themselves with the systems are hundreds of thousands of dollars. So, if we were gonna need to update, replace, then we would need to talk about that when we get to communications or into capital improvements.
If we're, radios, yes, the radio system itself needs updated, but
Yeah.
I think that we were trying to get it out of that grant versus
Okay, perfect,
out of general dollars.
okay.
The whole radio system needs replaced or updated. Everything's outdated, but that's not gonna be fixed out of this, so.
How much overlap does this have with IT, or is there any?
We don't function without IT functioning.
Yeah.
That's what Phil was saying, like the being down for the day. Our department doesn't function without the internet. Our 911 system, and we have 3, we call them analog lines, are built into our 911 system. So the analog lines are we call them backdoor lines for just regular business lines. And then our 911s are on a separate system than the actual county. So if the county's down, we function off of just those 3 consoles. And the public lines that have for non-emergency, none of those function.
And I was wondering about for like capital improvements and stuff too. I mean, how much does IT capital budgets, pick up for you guys, or is there?
I don't know the answer to that.
So, I know last year, when we were having this discussion, one of the things that we brought up was having the alternate control center for the jail to be able to control their own doors in case of a situation with dispatch. And you were going to look into the costs of that and everything and bring that back to us.
We did look into that briefly with, go ahead.
I'm sorry, that's part of the funding, the jail improvement funding.
I know, but we were,
I don't have dollar amounts, but
It
we
was-
looked into the cost of
It was approximately $250,000.
that's, initially the estimate was when we put it down.
That's strictly for the equipment.
That was just for the.
Then you have to have staffing sitting there to be able to do those doors in the jail office versus on the floor or dealing with an AIC or doing a transport. You have the additional cost of that.
Right.
And is there licensing involved with that too? Is that another software? $250 for equipment?
No, we already, I think
Pay
we
for
might
that.
be increasing
It's part of-
the same software we use.
Right.
Yeah.
But the point of it was to create redundancy for protection, so that if something happened and communications were cut off with downstairs or something of that nature, the jail staff could control their own doors in a situation like that. And or, if something happened in communications, that they would be able to take over the functionality of opening and closing their doors, so they wouldn't be stuck in a dangerous position. So,
Yeah, the problem is you have to have somebody on the outside of those doors.
yeah.
But
Well,
we have,
an additional staff person that's not currently funded.
that's not, and yes, they would have to add staffing for that. The problem is the system is all together. So
Yeah.
what's in our system functions for both sets, whether it be downstairs or upstairs. So if our system's down or we lose power or there's a connectivity problem, none of our doors function. So
Yeah. Yeah, so anyways,
Fire codes, or is that at the?
you don't ask those questions, Joe.
I've only had an issue with the system going down one time, and I've been here since 2017. And I was working with maintenance to, you can get through any door without that. There's only one door that's an issue, and I was working with maintenance at looking at that cost.
Yeah.
Sorry, digging too deep here.
Yeah. Yes, we need a new jail and infrastructure and
New courthouse.
lots of grant money. and-
That's nothing new.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's not going to fix it in here today, so.
No.
Any other questions for communication?
Good.
Lieutenant Deputy Parole and Probation, the only thing I updated in that was the cost increase for the FTEs for personnel. Numbers are
What
not
line item is
changed.
that?
I'm sorry?
What line item was that?
Parole and Probation for personnel was just updated with Julie's numbers for the cost increase.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, you got it.
Yes, sir?
And just so you know, PNP is not general funded. PNP is state funded. So these are all dollars that are dedicated, that are given to us through the state. So,
Are we good to move to the jail then?
I am.
Yeah.
Okay. Search and rescue, I guess I'll just do those real quick so we don't have to go back on those since they're first. Search and rescue, there was no updates that I'm aware of that we did last night. Marine Patrol, we updated the holiday and the overtime because that was not in yesterday's prepared worksheets. No other changes, and that is all grant funded, unless you have questions there.
Just that Marine Patrol didn't get included in the, never mind. I was on the wrong one. Go ahead.
I have jail custody next. There was no updates for that last night that I'm aware of. Do you have any questions for that? I think we touched on that yesterday.
We looked at that one.
But we do
pretty
have
in
a-
depth. Joe had a lot of questions about commissary.
So moving forward? We do have a jail commander here today, though. Yeah. Heavy on that. The jail budget itself, I did update the personnel numbers last night with Rabia from Julie's worksheet. And there was a request for the pro-service hospital in the jail budget. We are currently at our max budget of $30,000 in that, so the ask was for $10,000 more in that hospital line.
The hospital request was 10,000 more, but then per general was cut in half. Is there?
So I think from yesterday or last year?
From last year.
That's because of the admin services, I believe. The admin services aren't in this one. That was the only change, right?
Oh, no, professional services, general, right above professional services, hospitals.
The general, that's what I was asking Rabia. That 50,000 is not the approved budget. I looked at that earlier as well. The actual. The actual budgeted number for that is 23,000 for 25-26, not 50.
Okay.
I also was like, whoa, why did we do that? But that's not an accurate number there.
Okay, well, that aligns closer that.
Yes, so
with
it's only a
the
2,000
previous years,
increase.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for previous years as well.
So the total ask for the hospital was what again?
The total ask for the pro services hospital was 40,000. And we're currently, as of April, and I know we've had more since then, they were at almost 30,000. Which that varies just depending on who comes in and their condition.
Oh, okay, so the 40 you already have in there is what you're asking for. That's the increases.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
On the jail, I do have the sheriff touched yesterday on talking about the nurse leaving and wanting to cross-train prior to her leaving, so that was a request from Sergeant Brosey as well for looking at putting that money in. It's not in this budget number because I didn't want to change that. Ballpark of $8,000 for her to cross-train before she leaves, and then they had the request of a FTE being added at $104,437 for a total cost. And that would reduce their, once trained, their overtime budget as well, because they have a large amount of overtime due to staffing levels. They have the addition for the court security. Do you want to come up here at all?
Yeah, I'd like to know what that 104 buys.
The 104, that buys one FTE in their
FTE.
position, which is trained to do the court security, the jail.
That's okay.
all of it.
Transports, medical transports, yeah.
Do you want your overtime?
Let's see, we have.
I don't have your plan, but I have your. As of April 30th, they had over $41,000 in overtime. I'm sure that's gone up.
One FTE, you would probably get to maybe half that overtime, you're thinking, or?
At least the plan.
Once they're fully trained and certified, yeah.
Which takes what, a year?
It takes about 9 months, ideally 9 months to fully train and certify a corrections deputy.
And part of that time is at the academy where they're not here, they leave, so it's not, they're not,
Yeah.
not even a body here that can be assisting, so those are hard.
Yeah, the last 6 months, we've had at least one body at the academy pretty consistent.
When you hire somebody into the jail for custody purposes, from day one, do they take the floor and then are cycled out to training periodically? Or are they just gone for?
So in an ideal situation, perfect situation, they will be hired on. They will shadow with a deputy through what's called the FTEP phase, which is their training. Because obviously we treat them as they don't know, if they don't have any experience, they just don't know. So they're taught officer safety and policy and procedure, and they'll do this up until we get a date for the academy. That's a six-week program. Once they return from the academy, then they finish up their FTEP phase. And then once that's all complete, then we can get their certification. They'll be a fully trained deputy.
They're not hired strictly for custody or transport or court security. It's an overall position in the corrections division.
Yeah, our deputies do everything.
Thank you.
Any questions on jail?
What's the time involved with the court side of this?
Monday through Friday, trials, we could have deputies over there an entire week, 9 to 5. But typically, it's usually about 9 a.m. to 10 or 11. We've got court going on, just in custody stuff. We also have hearings in the afternoon sometimes that would, for AICs that have juvenile hearings if they've got children or whatnot. So, yeah, typically on a regular day, we could have deputies over in court for 2 to 3 hours.
Okay, thank you.
You pretty much always start with someone with no experience, right? You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah,
there's not those people out there you can just recruit.
Yeah, we don't have a huge hiring pool that's got a lot of experience built into it. So yeah, most of our deputies are no experience whatsoever, and we've got to train them from day one.
So there's a representation through our court system that the incident of unruly behavior in the courthouse has increased measurably. And I don't know what period of time, but nevertheless it's getting underscored even as we're sitting here today.
In our courthouse?
Precisely. Yeah, so we have people coming in off the street starting fires on the floors, and I mean, we're just like every other county, we struggle with much of the same stuff. That leads me to believe that there's a gap in our oversight, and then I also understand we're preparing to secure the courthouse in a way that we've not been able to do it before with the metal detectors and secure doors and stuff. So what the impact of the community trend coupled with the oversight requirements of some authority to be able to operate the new security devices, what are we looking at in order to respond to the change in culture, but also to actuate effectively the new technology? What do we need to do?
Well, we're going to need more staffing. Right now, the amount of time we spend in court is simply jail staff taking AICs over for their court appearances and bringing them back. We don't have the staff currently to put someone in the courthouse for security every day of the week.
Can you tell us what it would take at some point before we finish the budget cycle?
We could look into it, yeah. We
Yeah,
could get
the
some
sheriff
numbers.
had said that he would like to have one strictly for that purpose to be able to respond.
Just one?
Ideally 2 for the court. Typically it takes away from their staffing. So if they have 3 on, they have 1 over there that's moving the AICs back and forth. Also 1 bringing them down to move back and forth, but 1 off-site. For the issue with responding to the jail, most of the time if there's an alarm or, the courthouse, if there's an alarm, like you said, the fire incident, you're getting not only the correction staff that are getting told, but you're getting patrol as well. So that was a multi-agency response for that. Typically when there's something outside of the courtroom, you're going to get the patrol side of it, whether it be police department, sheriff's office, P&P assists with that as well. And then the court security versus the transports, we've used patrol staff and P&P to backfill currently for that too. So if the judges request court security that it does not have an AIC present in it, it's not just corrections, it's patrol and PMP helping backfill that currently. And we've had instances where we couldn't accommodate that request because we didn't have staffing to do so.
And the implications of that is not only do we have courthouse employees and judicial system employees, but we have incarcerated people that are a part of the mix in the courtrooms or in the building. And then we also have jurors as well as family members. All of those are subject to the risk associated with technology that's antiquated and doesn't work yet. But also we have a cultural trend across Oregon where safety in the courthouses is being jeopardized. So I think it's important for us to think through that relative to the budget implications. It's not a fun picture to put in your mind's eye at all, but it's not going to go away just because we can't afford to fix it. It will grow and fester. Thank you.
Any other jail questions? Unless you had other questions, I didn't have anything else for our department.
So I'm seeing a total of about 300,000 of asks.
For the jail?
No, just the different departments when you're looking through that. Three asks, three
Oh, for the wish list?
wish list, yeah.
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 A little over with the corrections nurse issue.
Okay.
What did you say? 300,000?
Yeah, just kind of.
I'd say it's closer to, with that, maybe 330, 335?
I guess I was taking 45 off of overtime.
Oh, the overtime. When you look at that, you cut down the overtime cost
Yeah.
into the, I can't take that all away
Yeah.
because clearly there's still going to be
Right.
overtime
Yeah.
regardless, but,
Okay.
yes, that would be correct if you're doing it that way.
And again, does that include the additional security that's required in the courthouse?
Correct. So that's
It doesn't include it.
the corrections addition, yes, that has that issue because that's something that they do as well. But if you're looking at strictly having somebody over there, the 8 to 5 that they're working and you want somebody specific, no.
It's less about what Lynn thinks, it's really your obligation to step up and define what we need and to let us know. And if that's not being articulated yet in this process, let's get it tabled so
Yes,
that
that was-
men and women know what risks and what opportunity we've got,
Yes, that correction staff position does encompass that.
to the extent that's required in order to have a safe.
Yes.
Thanks.
Sergeant Brosey? Sorry. What is our average capacity on a daily basis?
Well, obviously it's fluid because, arrests aren't always consistent. Lately, we have been sitting in the mid to high 20s. Several months ago, we were in the low 30s, pretty consistent. So it just depends on arrests. Senate Bill 48 has a lot to do with it. And so it's kind of a hard I'm not a numbers person whatsoever. I lean on her a lot for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, lately we've been in the low to mid 20s.
So if you were able to, because this will help us understand daily average cost, is if you were able to identify your average capacity, take all your capacity numbers daily, which I know you calculate, and then divide that by the number of days, and then you'll show like 26.7 per day, or we have on average per day. Then we can take that number and divide it by the budgeted number, and that tells us how much it costs per inmate per day, right? I mean, that's how we would identify our average inmate cost. And I think that's a good place to start to understand what we're really looking at. I mean, we could take it and divide it by number of beds available, but that's not truly accurate, right? We could take this number and divide it by 35 beds per day. But if we could, it would be really good to have that number to just understand how many inmates you have on average per day, per year, so we can really calculate that cost.
Okay. Yeah, that's something I can work on.
Okay, thank you. That would be helpful. That would be helpful. I don't have any other questions.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much.
Sergeant Westerman, thank you for presenting.
DA is next.
Okay. Okay, Bert, so jumping right along to DA. District Attorney.
You ready for it, Kevin? Yep. Yep.
So,
Let me,
so if you go, the DA sheet, you see where the DA is?
within general fund?
Yep, go to general fund, and then it'll be at the bottom tab.
DA.
You find it, Joe?
Yeah. Okay. There we go. Got it.
And this is our newly appointed, governor-appointed district attorney. Oh, actually, just went through his first election cycle.
That's right. So this is my first time doing one of these. Thanks for bearing with me. Good morning, Board and Budget Committee. We are moving forward with a budget that largely holds steady from recent years. Two priorities for the office are to fill vacant positions for prosecutors and reallocate unspent funds to purchase a case management system. We're the only county in the state that doesn't have a case management system, and that should help us work efficiently, effectively. Right now, as you know, we're kind of split between two offices, and such a system should help us manage cases effectively.
Can I step in for a minute?
Of course.
District Attorney.
Yeah.
So, so what he's describing is actually would come out of, it would be a capital expense. And it's definitely something I think we need to consider. But essentially, our district attorney's office operates solely, essentially off of paper. They don't have a records retention system, which allows for the efficiencies that would be allowed by having the digital record system would be incredible. The amount of time that they have to spend in their dungeon, the records dungeon, searching for information. Well, number one, it's an incredible amount of time. Number two, I would, having come from, where in juvenile where we had to prosecute and work with the DA and do all those things, I would say that we would most likely have a higher conviction rate on a lot of our items because we won't have lost information or information that takes too long to find. It will be accessible, and so this is one of those priorities like we did with the clerk in hiring that company to come in and redigitize all of our documents that were lost in the hack. These weren't lost in the hack because we didn't have a digitized system, right? So it's almost like the hospital went over to the Epic system to try to have a digitized platform that you could identify. This is that for the DA's world.
Right now, just to work with manila folders. If we need information, if we need a witness's phone number, we need to find the file, which could be several places. This will help us provide digital discovery, which will save thousands of pages of paper. Vicki James does hours of work, labeling by hand, pages of case documents, police reports that get sent out. It's a very cumbersome process. This will help us a lot with all of those things that we need to do.
Another important aspect to understand is it will also undoubtedly assist with recruitment, because these young attorneys coming out, they walk into an office like that and they have no idea. They're like, you still work in paper? Like, what? You know what I mean? So I think it will also help with recruitment for younger DAs coming.
People who come here and may want to work here, they are used to being able to take a laptop to court, click on a place, find a phone number, criminal history, police reports, case filings, court documents. digital discovery, sending emails back and forth of discovery with Defense Council. We do not have those capabilities right now. So that's what we're looking for. Stacy has solicited several proposals that we're just starting to evaluate. We've got 2 this afternoon. Phil, IT Director, is part of our work group for that, to make sure that any proposals are compliant with county policies. So Stacy's put a lot of work into that already, and we're just kind of starting to look at proposals.
And we do have room for capital expenditures. So something to consider.
Any rough numbers yet, what that is?
My understanding is we've been under budget for a few years now because of unfilled positions. So our priorities are to keep those positions open, get them filled, and move forward with a case management system. Would be very helpful.
But do you have an estimate of what that case management system costs?
Stacy DeLong has done an amazing amount of work, and I think she can give you some of those numbers.
Good morning. Thank you. So currently we have 4 proposals. We have 2 demos this afternoon and 2 demos on the 16th. So we're looking at right around $40,000 for the initial purchase, and then we will need a subscription fee moving forward.
Yeah.
And that's going to be probably between $17,000 to $20,000 a year.
What's the onboarding cost?
They're all different. All the proposals are different. So I would say anywhere between $30,000 to $40,000 to onboard.
Yeah.
There is one main prosecutor case management system that gets used statewide. It's called Prosecutor by Carpel, or PBK. We have not brought that on in the past because it's cost prohibitive, not just for the initial expenditure, but for the ongoing. And what we're hearing from some of the other district attorneys' offices is that they're raising their subscription fees now that they've got them signed up. So we don't want to go that route. There are several alternatives that we're looking at that'd be more cost effective.
Do they interface well with the existing systems?
Stacy, well, we haven't met with any vendors yet. We got our first meetings this afternoon. Stacy's
To ask those questions.
Yep. She's brought some proposals for you if you'd like to see them.
So I have a question. So your department's funded by state courts. Is that not, no?
No,
Or a state employee?
just the DA. Everything else is general funded.
Okay, that's what I wanted clarified. Thanks.
And victim assistance has some grants. But other than that, it's general funded.
Got it.
Would you like these?
Do you want me to hand these out? Or should I wait?
You can hand them out. Yeah, that's sure.
We got a great team over there. Stacy, Vicki James, Deb McDaniel from Victim Assistance, Gene Campbell, Pat Foley comes in the mornings. And I do want to express my gratitude for the board support, bringing on board Investigator Joel Hensley. He's come on board recently and he's doing a great job for us. He helps communicate with law enforcement, case preparation, and assist with some of these issues of case efficiencies. He's been really a big help, and I'm grateful to the board for support.
He really saw the need to once he came aboard as well. And he's been through an implementation of a case management system in the sheriff's office when he was there. So he is going to be integral in getting us through ours. And just having him on for the short time we have, he noticed immediately that we are very archaic right now.
So 5 total LTEs besides yourself? Or, I mean, in the office?
Let's see. Well, Joel and Pat Foley are contract, and I don't believe they're full-time. Deb McDaniel is a full-time victim assistant.
Yes.
Grant funded, and at least in part, right?
Correct.
Jean Campbell's a part-time victim assistance advocate. Is she
Right.
grant funded?
Yes, she is.
She's grant funded as well. So Stacy, myself, Vicki James. And as I said, I'm a state employee. I'm not a county employee.
So just 2 non-project general fund LTEs?
Correct.
Okay.
Happy to answer any questions or concerns.
I mean, I don't see anything major. I feel like we budgeted more money in the past trying to fill unfilled positions that we've been unsuccessful for in multiple years. And then, of course, the The only additional thing is the, well, I guess, investigator and subscriptions, but, I mean, it sounds like both those things are pretty integral to going forward. I guess,
Well,
to catch up, Joe.
when we approved the investigator position during last budget.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna tell Joe. We
And
consistently
that's-
approved a pretty significant amount of salary that has always gone unused.
Because the deputy, I'm sure you guys have already covered this, but the deputy DA positions have been incredibly hard to fill. So, you know.
We did have a good candidate that we had a job offer to out just this last week, and he told us yesterday he's declining the position, unfortunately. So that's kind of where-
Now, we raised, the rates themselves, when we did a study, were significantly lower than market, which is like $20,000. So we weren't even getting looks. We raised that, and then they've been doing some marketing and attempt to recruit from U of O and stuff like the grad programs, and I think we're probably going to find some success there eventually. But it's been, so Kevin was the deputy DA when Josh was the DA, and we still had an open position during that time.
We've had openings probably since
2 years.
Since Cody Hawkins left, it's been probably 3 years at least.
Yeah, and so, but I truly believe, once we get some of this other stuff updated, we make it, it's so hard to live here, obviously everybody knows that, in a professional positions like this, when they're trying to find housing, that's becoming a redundant
The
theme.
young man told us that we had the offer out to, his partner didn't want to relocate necessarily. They were from Pennsylvania with family in Oregon, but couldn't convince her to make the trip, so that's unfortunate. But that's not unusual to this opening, I know it's a common problem.
Yeah. But we can continue to put all the pieces in place to have a, you know, because our judicial system doesn't function without your office assisting every other law enforcement agency. So we have to, yeah.
Appreciate the support of the board and the people of Curry County.
Just back to the case management program, so with the onboarding and the subscription, is the 40 going to cover it this year? That wouldn't cover it, would it?
We have one-time fees on all 4 quotes, and then I think it would cover.
Would?
Some of them, yes. I think there's 2 that it will cover, and then 2 that it will not cover.
Okay.
Well, and here's the reality of how this all works. So, the board approves the capital expenditure, then they go out for bid on the different services, right? RFP, and then we go through there and we identify the most, not just based on cost, but based on service need, and try to balance the two. That's why we would go out to seek so many vendors.
And I'm reaching out to other offices to compare which systems are working for them and why, which would be a good one for us.
Yeah.
We are the only county in the state that does not have a case management system. Just so you know.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know that.
Well, you've been the case management system.
Yes, I think that our entire staff has been trained on paper case files. And Commissioner Trost, you touched on something which is very true in recruitment. Again, nobody's going to want to come to Curry County and go backwards with paper case files, physical case files. They look at, I think we had a candidate that actually came in for an interview and walked through and saw that we were
Yeah.
still.
I mean, it's super intimidating when you walk in and you have this many cases in your hand and you go to set them down on the desk. You're like, whoa, that dude's got in some trouble.
They're not getting trained on it.
But that's the limit of that's basically its only impact. Otherwise, it's just completely inefficient.
Our
So-
templates are inconsistent. Our motions, affidavits, subpoenas, it would just really tie all that together.
So all of the existing case files that you currently have, when we get onboarded with the new case management system, do they have somebody designated here to start inputting it all, or is that something that just you do slowly over time?
Well, we have to talk about that with our companies that we're getting demos from. I know that some of them will do it for us, and then there is an option for us to do it. It's a cost factor. So we'll take all of that into consideration.
Okay.
Right now, Stacy goes to Brookings PD twice a week on her way to work, picks up police reports. We get reports faxed down from Port Orford, and we get those later on in the week. Can't take days to get police reports from other police agencies. Being able to click on them and have them accessible is going to be tremendously beneficial. And they help keep some dangerous people in jail.
Yeah.
These systems, again, for your efficiency, I mean, do they have really advanced search functions where you can just look through everyone's database once you're up there and look through the whole state and quickly?
I can't speak to specific ones because I haven't seen them yet, but hopefully, yes.
Yeah.
We can look at criminal histories, open cases in other counties, all kinds of features.
Yeah, so spending the money now if we're going to be doing the capital improvements just to get a system that has a software to pull every bit of information you guys need to make sure that we get the best prosecution
That'd be
going.
immensely helpful.
Yeah, I could.
They have a victim advocate tracking component as well, so that won't have to be manually done any longer. It tracks automatically, so that will save our director time there. It integrates with law enforcement, as Kevin said, so that's very beneficial and helpful as well.
We'll be able to crunch some numbers for you because we have to make certain annual reports to the Department of Justice,
Yes.
certain kinds of crimes, things like that. And it's painstaking
It's all
to go through
tracked.
paper files to do that. And we'll be able to give you information you need to make informed decisions.
Yep.
Do you feel that like with this, that you might have the efficiencies to then run at a lower cost overall for your office in the future? Or?
For some of our line items, yes, like paper.
But as far as FTEs, I guess, would the request of FTEs change at all with, going to digital?
Well, she is
don't
the,
think so.
case management.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she'd just be managing the system instead of the system managing her.
Right. I don't
It'd be
think
hard to
so,
say.
right.
I don't know.
Right.
It'd be hard to say who we could do without. We still need Victim Assistance Director, Stacy, Vicki. It would be hard to say.
Right.
Our prosecutions would go up then, or?
Quite possibly. I mean, if we need prosecutors to charge them, but yes.
Well,
It would definitely make them more efficient to be able to prosecute more cases. Because right now, it's just a lot of research and paper, that time spent doing those things, I know when I go over to ask for assistance on some just statistics, right? Like, I'll go over maybe once a month, and I ask about, how many cases have been filed per agency, right? Well, it takes them an incredible amount of time to go and find the information, because they got to go and see how many agency, they have to go physically go pull it. Whereas then they can just, essentially it'll be a system where you do a search query, you say, all the cases from Curry County Sheriff's Office, all the cases from BPD, and then, be able to compile those in seconds as opposed to maybe an hour or two, whatever it takes for them to compile that information when I ask for it. So that's time, now they're working on cases instead of looking for
Everything else being equal,
data.
I would expect yes. We have a more efficient digital case management system, yes. We would save those efficiencies and be more productive, would be my hope.
So it was my understanding that you guys were hoping to make the initial purchase this fiscal year?
Yes.
And that the
That
next
was-
year's budget is just for the subscription?
Yes, that's the 30,000 for the subscription.
Yeah, so the
Yep.
purchase is going to be this year?
Yes.
and the onboarding, yeah.
Yes.
So 70,000 probably for the 30,000
Yeah, in
onboarding,
25,
40,000.
26, not
Right.
26.
Because
I think it's going to be that.
they have such unspent, they're so under budget, it's already built in within their budget to be able to purchase this year.
this broken record here, but if there was I know it's got to be a probably secure system, but if there was an independent AI agent that you guys had operating on your system there that was pulling from the state data and everything, questions like his, I mean, you could put it in 2 seconds, you'd have it out.
Yes.
And that'd be, so I mean, when getting the package that you want, I mean, say like look for things like that so that we're ready to move forward into the future and be really quick.
That sounds great to me.
You know, and to Joe's point, it probably wouldn't be the legacy automation systems that many other organizations are using that will quickly meld with AI ingredients. On the other hand, if you're going after more boutique systems, newer systems, smaller systems, less legacy oriented, they're going to have the ability to tie into AI much better than legacy systems. It's so difficult for legacy systems to pick up these new approaches from that are coming out of the development community within IT. So that, I'm encouraged by the fact that Joe's hope of what he, as you do, that can come to fruition simply because of the type of vendors you're going after. You're not going after the big legacy guys.
How many proposals do you have at this time, Stacy?
Currently, we have 4, and they're in your packets.
So there's a lot to choose from. I would want to pick something that's proven, and Phil would approve, of course.
Yes. And Philip will be attending those demos as well.
Yeah, and Phil definitely knows how to ask the AI questions.
Yes.
Questions?
I don't have anything.
No, good.
I think we're good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you both.
So we're responsible for the law library budget as well. Does anybody have any questions on the law library? Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. This might be a question for Nick and Rabia. So, like you're saying, we're gonna, after the demos here, probably expense that this year, so we'll see that line item in the 2026 budget for a 40 or 70,000, yeah, okay. Yeah.
Do you mind sticking around for a little bit?
Yeah, be happy to.
I need to catch up with you after this.
Of course, sounds good.
I just hope that if we're spending the money, if we're looking at it, that
That's it
it's
for
the very last in the
presentations.
state. So, how many counties are there? 36? Okay, so we're number 36. We're going to be making the investment to try to catch up. It'd be really cool if at the end of the stuff we're right up at number 1. I mean, if it's brand new equipment, I mean,
Software.
yeah, if we're the last one to buy it, we should be getting the latest stuff.
Absolutely right.
100%.
Yeah,
And, yeah.
nice.
You're saying back to the expensing, so the 40 in here,
That's for the subscription.
Subscription for next year.
But probably when we, well, I guess, yeah, probably maybe not by the time we're done with this budget, but yeah, there'll be, obviously there's the blank space in the 2026 budget. There will be,
yeah.
to try to expense it this year for the initial sign-on fee or initiation fee, yeah.
Yep. Agreed.
That's what I was asking
It
earlier.
should be yes.
100%.
It's not in there.
100%.
What's that?
And that's what I was asking earlier, so that's not in there.
Sorry.
The
No,
addition-
that's in this year's budget. So are you talking about the initial expense?
Yeah.
That's gonna happen this year, in this budget. because- Yeah, because they've been so under budget, it's within their budget.
I missed that, I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
And it should fall within that 40 to 50,000 range. And then the subscriptions that will come in
Is what's being budgeted.
could be in the, I mean, we don't know yet, 20 to 30.
What's next?
So,
What's next?
that's it for presentations today.
Oh, okay, good.
So it'll just be general discussion. Next meeting's coming up, June 10th.
So next meeting, what we are going to have prepared is a full proposed budget with the money that we currently have. And so that will reflect more of what Dan and Nick are used to. you know, I apologize for not communicating that I was hoping to go through this more intricate process, kind of more grassroots discussions during budget, as opposed to, you know, for instance, you know, we just finished our school board budget. It took 30 minutes because, right, we had, now granted, that's one leader, one department, one ask, right? It's much more linear. But I understand that's what this committee's been used to for the most part, as opposed to, you know, days of presentations and then subsequently some days of discussion and deliberation about what the priorities of the committee are, as opposed to here are the priorities being presented. Do we agree with them? So we will have that prepared on the 10th. And but what I would,
I guess what, isn't this already done now? I mean, don't we already have the numbers in here? What are we missing?
we're not.
Other than the allocation?
We're not missing anything. I think the biggest difference is that we allowed for the asks, as opposed to saying, hey, this is what you got to work with. That's figure it out, right? So we allowed for the asks because we were projecting that there may be some of this additional revenue. Now, what we're learning is, number one, there's not as much of that additional revenue as we anticipated.
At least not for this next.
Not for this fiscal year.
The following.
The following one, yeah, there will be. So we're not going to be able to bounce out of triage mode like I had hoped to anticipate, you know. But that's the big difference, Dan, is we allowed for the asks. Because the asks aren't necessarily built into what we have in front of us, right? The asks, what that does is that puts all of us in a position of saying, well, if we're going to prioritize that ask, then that means it requires a removal over here. Which one are we removing? Does that make sense? And so, you know, and I understand that that can get a little political and put you, the budget committee members, in a position that may be political or uncomfortable, as opposed to having that already prepared and saying, this is what we're prepared to present to you. Do you agree with it? And if not, then let's discuss that, as opposed to how do you want it to reflect your priorities? Does that make sense? So you know, this was, I think, a really good exercise, especially for staff to be able to present their, you know, their departments, present what their services are, all those things, and then, you know, they have the option for what they would be asking to look to improve. So on the 10th, then, the way it would be different is we'll actually be prepared to have a budget that, you know, is zeroed out. This is what we're looking to fund. Do you agree with it? We'll you know, so.
And just as you know, some asks are in and some aren't, right?
Some asks are in and some aren't.
Right.
Yep. Because Nick put it out to the electeds, not the department heads. The department heads, but not department heads within an elected division. He put it out to the electeds themselves and said, if you have an ask.
I did everyone.
You did everyone?
I did everyone.
Okay.
So they got to ask, put it in.
Okay. And so some of them just didn't do that.
So it's basically, hopefully they know now, but I mean, I can send out another reminder. There's only a few of them who didn't, I guess, is my thing.
Yeah, there's a couple of divisions that didn't. But regardless, you know, I want to make sure you guys know. And then, here's the thing. If there are certain if there are certain, things that you particularly are interested, invested in, then reach out and we'll hash it out. We'll figure it out. But I think what I failed at is communicating this year's direction of budget in the process effectively, because we transitioned, and then failed at communicating how I was identifying what the role of the committee was going to be tasked with, because it certainly was a pivot from previous years, and that I know that if not communicated, it caught people off guard. So, yeah, we will have it ready. We'll consider all of those asks, we'll look at the thing, we'll look at the priorities, and then when we get back, we'll be able to say, this is what we were able to zero out. Is that, yeah, because I don't want to mess up communication now. I want to be very communicative now.
I guess it'd be important then, when we do come back on the 10th, that we're looking at it and seeing like who has their asks in there and what the asks were compared to and then who's got additional asks, because just because they have them in the spreadsheet, doesn't seem like that should be the ones that, okay, we'll
Correct.
We'll approve those, but these ones that weren't in the spreadsheet, we shouldn't. It would be good to have that.
Well, and here's the other reality. There's a good chance we won't be able to fulfill many at all. We certainly, we just finished the collective bargaining agreement, right? And you just found out about the PERS. Well, that was not an expected cost.
That's a big hit.
It's huge, right? So any excess revenue that came out of TLT or potential for timber funds, and they could be gone in our annual increase, COLA increase, and that particular PERS increase. Because that was that was a negotiated thing, but we didn't have that negotiated prior to starting this budget committee.
Does COLA go up every single year a specific amount, or what is it?
It's a negotiated amount, right? So we generally try to negotiate on a 3-year basis. So we'll identify 3 years of COLA so we can plan, right? So it might be, year 1's 5, years 2's 4, year 3's 3, and then we renegotiate. Well, we're in the negotiated year. So we could be looking at a 5-4-3. So we would have to plan for a 5% increase in COLA and then a 6% increase in PERS, which will negate any of these asks. So I think I was a little more optimistic in this year's revenue projections than our reality. That's what it boiled down to. I had more optimistic views of what we were going to be bringing in. And what I was trying to do is say, hey, there's a chance we're going to have a little bit more money than we anticipated. How do we want to prioritize that money? Which is why I wanted everybody to go through that process of presentations and asks, so we could identify, hey, if we only have $300,000 of anticipated excess revenue, where do we want to prioritize that $300,000?
And I feel the budget committee, the department heads and presentations is always good. What we need is that anchor point.
Yeah.
Here's the budget. Here's what we're going to see with mandated increases.
Yep.
And having also the other fund of like, this is what's coming in and where we are. I feel like there's just a little too much
ambiguity.
Yeah. In that, like, first thing we're hit with is, elected official salary. Like, okay, let's table that. So, looking at even June 10th, do we put in prior year's salary and then look at, before we vote on increases, based on what, the compensation committee has said? So that's one thing to integrate, or, to...
Well, that's a huge one.
And then, so having that anchor point to then listen to department heads to say, yes, that's what my natural increases are gonna be. I want to add one FTE, and I feel like it's a lot easier to digest on the budget side, and it shows that you guys have done at least the structure there so that we can come in and
Yep.
ask the questions like, the revenue increase, is it really going to be here, or how can we dissect that to make sure we're not overinflating expectations?
Yep. No, it's a great point. The anchor point is a great point. Yeah, I think, and certainly noted.
And then I think with the June 10th being at the official budget, that comes with the budget message, which should outline,
Yeah.
Any of those, when we talk about structural changes,
Yep.
how is that going to impact the county, and how is that going to impact FTEs, and just overall dynamics of management and structure.
Yeah. Yeah, because this practice was truly more workshop-y than budget committee driven, right? This was truly workshop in just getting flooded with information. And so, I understand. And then, I also the perception, the optics of having, you guys sit up here, and I can understand how a lot of it may have started to feel a little uncomfortable.
Without too much more kudos to Rabia and Nick. I mean, Budget Committee was getting emails at 10 p.m. on Saturday night, so that means, yeah, even Sundays. So that means a lot of work behind the scenes. So.
Nick brought in a cot. Like,
Yeah, I've been sleeping on the floor.
But I mean,
Keep forgetting.
yeah.
But so bouncing back to the June 10th, we'll have budget message. I mean, where do you guys feel as far as? I guess from other Budget Committee members, what numbers to have in there for elected officials, and then do you want to put in the asks first from what we've heard, or what the commissioners believe want to be funded, or reverting back to the status with step increases, and then?
Well, we've got to start with those, right? We have to start with the step. We have to start with PERS and COLAs, right? That's a huge piece of the puzzle. So we got to.
I've been saying this since day one. We have to start with our actuals for this year, add the known increases without adding any extra ask, what our revenue is, and then we know what we got.
Yeah.
It's very simple. This isn't rocket science.
Yeah.
And then from there, we look at the ask, and if you're the ones who are going to prioritize it, then I think it'd just be great to have a presentation what that is when we come back.
Okay.
That's how I look at it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we'll do.
That's the big.
Unless I'm wrong, I don't know what you guys think. I think it's pretty simple.
Yeah, because the one fund we really haven't seen, we see all the other departments, but we haven't gone through admin and financing. That's the piece that we haven't seen of what additional cost that's going to be based on restructuring, and how that then trickles down to departments.
Yeah, we'll get that, and then, but you're right, so one of the things that was completely atypical about this, Dan, is that we're still in negotiations. Right, so we have a good idea of what that number is.
Labor negotiations?
Yeah,
Oh, I see.
we're still in the middle of it. They were doing negotiations yesterday while we weren't here. So that's like a big piece of why we can't answer that question that you're asking.
Got it. That's new news. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so, that's why, yeah.
It's also the reason why Ted's not here.
Well, we've been in negotiation, so, yes, we will,
But still, we can still get that view from last year at least to see money in, money out, and,
we can,
do we actually have a cushion? And that should give us a pretty good idea on.
yeah. Well, I think that the number we had was right about 800,000.
Or
The difference in increased revenue
in which fund?
in the general fund,
$1,200,000.
$1,200,000. Right, okay, so, yeah, and once we know what this rate increase is, it sounds like the PERS thing has kind of been informally agreed upon by both sides, so they brought that up. That's what was discussed today in Yeah, oh, that's formal, that's done, okay. So,
We have a good estimate of what we're gonna put in the budget for the Teamster side of it. We don't know that, we're probably not gonna know that for like 2 weeks. But we've been working with Julie to get kind of like an average. That's
Okay.
not gonna skew it.
so, yeah, so the negotiation piece has really created a lot of the,
I understand.
yeah.
I didn't know that was going on. I know we were.
So, but we'll have a much better look once that's done.
Good.
Yeah. So, thank you guys.
Indeed.
And thank you for,
You guys, no, thank you.
for the couple of days of dedication that you put into hearing out staff. You know, one of the things that was really neat.
That's very helpful, though. I enjoy that part of it. That's very good.
Well, so what we did was, last month, Commissioner Hollinger met with the department heads, and they put together full strategic plan presentations for their departments, which was really, really good to hear as well, you know, so.
Is that multi-year strategic plan? Like
A three-year
3-year.
strategic plan.
Yeah.
And that's,
I know, I've said this multiple times, but just the math of 3% increase on property taxes, and I know that's not all our revenue, but that going up, and yet COLA, they're asking for, it sounds.
We can't even come close to keeping
3,
that.
4, and 5%. It doesn't take many years or decades when it's just the math.
couple more years.
Yeah, this government's got to become
Thing is,
efficient. Every year, we got to be relentlessly pursuing efficiencies as we move forward and cutting staff. I mean, because they're going to keep on asking for
More.
COLA increases. And then even if they were at the 3%, anything above that, it's just inevitable that we're going to have to do more with less. And so just harping through the whole,
Yep.
you know, county that, hey, we got to get more efficient every year because we know this is coming. It's the future. We're going to be paying our employees more, and we're going to have a lot fewer of them. And we need their productivity to be up. That's what I think we have to be pushing down, because they're just, it doesn't sound like there's any way around that future, right? I mean, we can't ask them to work for less, and we can't.
No.
But we still have to get these certain amount of things done, and we can't raise the revenue anymore.
well, and it makes it very hard for us to provide the financial resources to them for more FTE when that money is going into these negotiations at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Well, and, you know, we do have paths to increase revenues outside of taxes, you know, so, you know, like Commissioner Hollinger's been relentlessly working on some timber agreements with the Forest Service. And, you know, we've obviously been working on the ONC thing. And this year's bailout is the TLT legislation. Last year's bailout was the ONC funds coming through to cover COLA costs. And this year, it looks like the bailout is the TLT legislation with some ONC funds. You know, but each year, it's like we're just right there, just treading water.
Well, I mean, and maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe strategically, we just have everyone's head wrapped around the public, the personnel, the commissioners, everybody, that we are going to do forward less every year. We're going to have these budget agreements because those don't seem to be stopping, and we're just going to keep up with them by gradually cutting and getting, you know,
More efficient.
sharpening in the knife. Yeah, every year. And that way people realize this is going to be happening, and then nobody gets upset when we start losing jobs.
And you know, you just described something that's totally counterculture to local government.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's inevitable. That's what they're asking for.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Oh, thank you.
I feel weaponless to end the meeting. They've taken my stick away.
Oh, no, here you go. It's right here.
All right, so meeting adjourned.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.